Hello everybody, it's Aaron. Welcome to another episode of Feed the Beast. It's Direwolf20 on the Primus server. And let's start with the engines today. We are fluctuating greatly in our biomass production. This number goes up to 18 and down to 14 and then up to 17 and down to 13. We're just not making enough saplings anymore since we put this huge drum. So Fuego was generous enough to give us a couple extra barrels of saplings he had. We've already sucked about half of them through the machines. So what I think I'll do, this mob juice drum is totally full. It's been full since yesterday. We're also still gaining gunpowder. So what I think we'll do is I'm going to make enough reactant dynamos to replace every one of these biogas engines. And then I want to make those augments. I want to make the first two level efficiency augments and then the first level power augment so we get double the power. I think when you have those three, it's a wash. It kind of evens out. Or you get enough power that the couple of percentage of efficiency isn't that big of a deal. So since we've already set up reactant dynamos in that fashion, I'm not going to do that with you. I'll do it on my own and I'll show you after the fact. I read somewhere that there is an augment that you can put in here that will allow you to pump fluid into the face that you extract energy from. I'm not really positive about, exactly what it is, but if it is an augment, I don't want to waste the augment slot because we've only got 4 and we definitely want the redstone circuit in there, so we cannot sacrifice that. So I'll work that out. I'll show you what I've come up with. It'll probably be very similar to this. At the very most, the biggest change I'll make is I'll either move this stuff over and then put the dynamos all in 3 rows right there, or I'll just move all these. I'll move the capacitors and the power monitor over and then put them all up here. At that point, I think I'm going to quit biomass production, so we will have 8 of these dedicated to the quarry, ender quarry, or whatever, with just the one running the tree farm. So at that point, the tree farm will solely be for charcoal, which was its intended purpose in the first place. We're right around 200,000, which is pretty awesome. So this is actually a re-record. I set up a bunch of things and I realized working back here that it was a little dark. So let me go ahead and throw some light over here just to make sure we can see everything. I've made a little platform over here. What I'm going to do after the episode, I just temporarily set up the deep storage units, but I want to do it correctly. So I've run the dense cable. What I'm going to do is probably make some smart cable. I might use the regular Fluix. I'm not sure, since I know that I'll have 8 deep storage units on each little branch, and I will either put deep storage units on either side of one cable right here with all the storage buses, or I'll put the deep storage units 2 in a row and then just run the cable on top. I don't know which way will be more efficient, but I want to keep this side free because of all of this stuff going on. So I will handle that, and I'll show you that after the fact as well. I've already run a green dense cable this way, and I took off the facades on the top of these 2 machines. What I'd like to do is I want to use this sag mill to automatically pulverize nether quartz into quartz dust, and I want to use this one to automatically cook sand into glass when we need it, so we have it on hand. So I already fiddled with the conduits This one, all I had to do was switch it from in out to extract only. This one, I switched from in out to extract on blue. So nothing will go in this sag mill or this furnace, alloy smelter, whatever. They both extract on channel blue. If you remember, I don't remember if it was last episode or it was probably the one before, blue goes into the white ender chest, which is the chest that everything gets sucked back into the ME network. So at some point, since they changed the deep storage unit recipe, it doesn't require Tesseract frames anymore. I made all those Tesseract frames in anticipation. What I'll probably do is put a Tesseract right here and put another Tesseract directly on an interface connected to the system so that we can use another Tesseract on the quarry, ender quarry, whatever, and the items will just get put directly in the ME network. We won't have to use the conduits to do that. But I always like to keep an ender chest set up so that I can just toss anything in there that I want and it just goes into the system. Especially if I'm out running around exploring and stuff. So how we're going to do this, we're going to use level emitters. You missed a lot of derping because I couldn't get these things to work correctly. It took me about, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes to figure it out. But we've got our dense cable here. We can use glass fluix cable, and I'll set that up first just so I can show you the difference. So we're going to need to run smart cable up here, and then we're going to put a level emitter. Whoops, I went too high. No big deal. It's already red, which probably turned the machine off. We're going to do the same thing over here. We'll run it up, and then we'll put a level emitter right there. I have made a couple of storage or export buses rather. We're going to put one on each machine, and then we need to hook them up to cable as well. There we go. So this is why I set this up first, just to show you the difference, okay? Right now, this shows, it should show 2 channels. It does. It's kind of hard to see on this one. This one also shows 2 channels, but this one doesn't show us anything. Since we know how many channels we have here, it's not that big of a deal really, but I would like to use regular fluix because I can look at this thing at a glance and say, that's 4 channels used. And right now it's not a huge issue, but as the network grows, we're going to need to see what's hooked up where, and this makes it a lot easier to troubleshoot. If something's not working right and I have all 8 of these lit up, I'll know that I might have gone over. Whereas if there are, say, only 7 channels in use, then I know that I'm probably not over my channel limit. So also keep in mind that you have to use the uncolored fluix cable because the colored cables don't connect at all. So we would either have to use a green smart cable here, or if we use the standard fluix cable, fluix smart cable, which connects to any color, that'll get them connected. The drawback to that, if we put another dense cable here, if we wanted to run more cable off the top, we could not use another cable like this. I don't have one on me. If we did, they would connect. So we don't want that to happen either. Fortunately, that won't be an issue because if I do need to run any more cable, I'll probably end up just running either a green cable this way to another machine, or I can put one of those regular fluix cables on the bottom, or even I could run it off of right here and then run my colored cable from that. So that shouldn't be an issue. So in order to make these export buses react to redstone, we have to make redstone cards. It's a pretty easy recipe if it'll pull up for me. It's just one of these basic cards and a redstone torch. The level emitter, I think, is a calculation processor and a redstone torch. They're pretty cheap, not that big of a deal. So what we're going to do is we're going to first tell this guy that when we want to emit a signal when levels are below or equal to, we're going to say 1024. I do have more than that in the system right now, so it should not work off the bat. So we go to our export bus. We're going to put in one of these redstone cards. We're going to tell it be active with a signal. So when it gets a redstone signal, whatever we put in here will get put into the machine. We're not getting a redstone signal, so there should be nothing in here. If I make this number higher, we'll just make it 10,000. The signal comes on and it sends sand immediately. So I'm not going to worry about putting acceleration cards in here. It's just going to do one however many ticks. It's fine because it'll work when I'm offline or online or whatever. And as soon as I drop below 1024, it'll put more sand in there and we'll get it cooking into glass. So I don't want to keep a ton in there, so I'll just go ahead and do that. And we're going to do the same thing for the quartz. We're going to configure this the same way. We're going to tell it to emit when levels are below or equal to limit of nether quartz dust. We're going to make that one 1024 as well. And then in the export bus, we're going to put the redstone card. We're going to make it active with signal, and then we're going to put quartz in it. And I do have less than 1024 nether quartz or nether quartz dust in the system, so this is sending it. If I move this down to like 100, it turns off because I've got more than that in the system. But I like to keep however many stacks 1024 is at all times. It's really going to come in handy for making that glass that goes into the processor recipe, as well as the quartz cable that you turn into the Fluix cable, this stuff. So that was a much shorter episode since I actually had figured out the ins and outs of this. So I guess that's good for me, bad for you guys. I had considered attempting in older versions of AE, you could put an interface on a machine, make a pattern for, say, converting sand to glass in a furnace. And you could do that without crafting CPUs and all that stuff. It would work without a molecular assembler chamber. I don't think it works that way anymore. I wanted to try it, but I don't think it's going to work. I think we have a few minutes, so let's try it anyway, just because. See, this is the glass I always need. Okay, I've got a pattern terminal. I should have an interface somewhere. I thought I made an extra one. Maybe I didn't. We'll see. I guess I did not. But it's easy. So we're going to turn that into this one. And what we'll do is we'll just, to test this, we'll just put the interface right on the back of this one. and we'll just put a regular Fluix cable to connect it. So this will be awesome if it still works. I'm not really sure. So let's put our pattern terminal here. I don't know how many channels we have now, but it still seems to be working. So cool enough. So we're going to go put the patterns in there. We're going to turn this to processing pattern. Let's do, what do we need to cook up? I don't even know what we need to cook up regularly. We'll do Skystone. So I'm pretty sure we do 1 and then 1. We'll make the pattern. I'm pretty sure that's the recipe. Let's make sure. Yep, looks like it. So if we put the pattern in here, we'll see what happens. Cross your fingers. Let's get rid of that. We'll say 10. Whoops. Yeah, see, I don't have any crafting CPUs available, so that doesn't work in this version. Not a huge deal. I just figured I'd give it a try just in case. But no dice. So when we get to the auto crafting part, then we will jump off that bridge. There's nothing I really need to auto craft right now, though processors would be pretty nice. So let me make sure I didn't drop anything down here. It's so hard to tell since I don't have a regular floor yet. Alright, so by the way, I don't know if I told you that I moved. Everything is over here now. I put the Smeltery upstairs. I haven't done anything with it yet, but it's here. This is what I did to my Smeltery. I think it looks pretty cool. And I went ahead and I made it 4x4. So I just went about as tall as the building, and then the top are painted glowstone that look like the frostbound bricks. So I really think this looks cool. If I had thought about it, this is just a little off from this, which is not a big deal, but if I had considered it, I would have put seared bricks instead of abyssal down here. But I still think it looks pretty cool. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I'm having surgery on Friday. I'm not sure when the video is going up, but don't expect anything from me for probably 5 or 6 days. I don't know what I'm going to feel like afterward, and I can't guarantee that I'm going to release stuff in a timely manner for the next week. But I'm not going to forget about you. Don't worry. So if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, as always, leave them in that little box down below. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.